Welcome to our work session, and we'll go ahead and get started. And first on our agenda is Miss Francis, and she's going to tell us about the CEP schools.
Chairman Francis, members of the board, Dr. Putnam, I was going to say Dr. Nolte, it's been a while. Dr. Putnam, Ms. Barker, Mr. Haynes. I'm very excited to share this information. Haynes, Mr. Haynes, Mr. Haynes, to share this information with you tonight. It is the time of year where we have to pull, or I have to pull, the community eligibility provision information and submit it to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. The community eligibility provision is a program that allows schools to provide free breakfast and lunch to all students. We currently have 7 schools participating in this program. I'm not supposed to pull this information until April the 3rd, but I pulled a preliminary report a few weeks ago for Lisa Thompson because she was working on some Title I projects, and I was very pleasantly surprised, and I don't anticipate much of a change because it's based on the students that are currently classified as direct certified, which means they are either food stamp or SNAP recipients, homeless, migrant, runaway, or there's also a new class this year, which is Medicare, or it might be
Medicaid.
Medicaid. Sorry, I get those two confused. Medicaid, certain groups of Medicaid are considered direct certified, and direct certified means that we get an automatic downloaded file from DSS, and those families don't have to fill out an application. So if a school has at least 40% of its enrollment that meets that criteria, then they are eligible to participate in the community eligibility program. And based on the information that I pulled a few weeks ago, 14 of our 15 schools will qualify for the 23-24 school year. The only school that doesn't hit that 40% mark right now is Haywood Early College, but we are able to group them with another school and qualify them. So we will be able to qualify all 15 schools for the program with your approval at the next board meeting.
Okay, very good.
And
That's good news.
That's good for parents, it's good for staff, it's good for our program. Community eligibility is a little bit different than USDA just saying, okay, let's feed all students for free. And when they were giving us free reimbursement for all students during COVID, we were getting a higher reimbursement rate for every single student that participated in our program. For the community eligibility provision, the percentage of students that qualify under that direct certified category is what determines your reimbursement rate. So I don't know if you have a copy of the spreadsheet in front of you. If you look at Bethel Elementary School, and can I see yours because I didn't print both pages of mine, I'm sorry, I cut off my. If you look where it says percent of identified students, it's 48.20%. They take that and they have a multiplier of 1.6%, which brings the number of claimed free meals to 77.12%. So if all 100% of the students ate, they would reimburse us at the free rate for 77% of those students. The rest of the students we would get the reimbursement rate of the paid rate, and we would have to come out of pocket for the difference. And in the schools that we've done in the past, we have done better financially, and we haven't seen a loss. And I feel like this program, as long as we can get the students to participate, the higher participation rate, the less of a loss there is for us. So I'm really excited, and I hope that you guys will be excited about this for our students as well.
Now, does this include the breakfast and
Breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Great
fantastic.
news.
No applications have to go out. Parents don't have to do anything at all.
We appreciate the hard work, Ms. Francis.
Yeah.
We do.
No, they can, whenever they want, they can choose not to eat. It's just, they don't have to fill out any paperwork. They just get in line and eat if they want to, and, or bring their lunch if they don't want to. Any other questions?
I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. If you can find out her,
Oh, I know who she is.
I've got it.
Arlene Carswell.
Yeah, Charlene.
She would eat us. You know her.
I'm not recalling right offhand.
She has her name in.
I'll reach out to Charlene. Yeah, I'll reach out to her.
all right, let's move on to the resolution, House Bill 219.
Yes, sir. Chairman Francis, we alluded to that in our prior portion of our legislative discussion with Representative Pless. House Bill 219, you should have a copy of. Campbell and Shetley has provided a potential resolution that you could adopt and sign if you so chose to as a board. Basically, it details out what the provisions of the bill are. In a nutshell, House Bill 219 would give access to Fund 8 and other funding sources within our public school system and make those available to charter. This creates inequities. It's actually access to funds that we have generated, whether it be through charitable donations or whether it's been through actual costs accrued or fund balance saved over time. So it's not monies that are afforded based on ADM. It is monies generated or saved through operations of the public school system. And so obviously you can see this is not an equal or equitable distribution of funds, and therefore consideration for opposing such bill.
We can't take action tonight anyway.
That's correct.
Be looking at it, I think we should pass this resolution, and in talking with our representative earlier tonight, he thinks it will be tied in with the budget, and so it might go through under the radar, so to speak. And so I think we need to let our legislative delegation, as well as all the others, know that we're opposed to that. And I know the North Carolina School Board Association has been working hard to oppose it as well. So, I mean,
So
it's-
if this passed, they would be able to get money we have now, not future money. Well, future money too,
according to how it's written.
but money that we have on hand right now, they would be able to get, correct?
That's correct. It would be anything in fund balance. And so I'll give you an example of how inequitable that is. So we collect mileage money for activity bus mileage to and from athletic events. And that the money generated from that is put into what's called Fund 8, and it sits there, and that's what we use as replacement money for our activity buses. Well, charter school don't typically have activity buses, nor did they generate the funds to secure activity buses, but they would have access to ours. And so it just creates a real unequal situation. And there are other things that we have to fund that charter schools do not. We are required to fund nutrition. We are required to provide transportation. Now, some charter schools may choose to do that, but there's certainly no requirement to. We are required to admit all students that, come to our public school doors, whereas charter schools do not. So there's just some unequal regulations and rules regarding the two, and this is just yet another that would make it even harder to manage our budget.
Well, if the state wants to give the charter schools more money, they can do it, but not on our backs is the way I look at it.
And I guess
Being
the
nice about it.
exactly, and to your point, I guess the heartburn is this is money we have generated. It's not money that was allotted to us from the state. It's money we've generated and saved.
Is this already, can we add that to the agenda? Is everybody okay? Is it already on there? Have we already, okay, good. Very good.
All right, Mr. Chairman, that's all for me. Would you like me to turn it over to Mr. Haynes?
Please.
All right, Chairman Francis, members of the board, I've just got two things for you all this evening. One is really just informational, and it's kind of just to brag on our transportation department. They had their yearly inspection by the state. It occurred week before last. And that inspection, they come and inspect a percentage of our fleet, to see if the buses are clean, if they're, the seats aren't ripped, if they're in, good condition, all the parts of the bus, are the way they're supposed to be. They check the inventory in the shop. They talk to the ladies up there, and they check on the data and the reports that we hold in transportation. The lower the score, the better. And I'm not even going to pretend to understand exactly how the scoring works. But the lower the score, the better. And in 21-22, we got a 47, which was good. This year, 22-23, we got a 27. So that was 20 points higher than last year previously. And the state was very complimentary of our transportation department. They said they had done an amazing job, and they were very impressed with the score and the state of our transportation department. So I just wanted to let you all know that and just kind of brag on them for that great job.
Very good. It's good news. Congratulations to our
very good news.
transportation.
Absolutely. Second thing is policy 7602, which is the employee supplement policy. A little issue with that policy, which has kind of been reoccurring through the years, I guess, it was brought to our attention a couple weeks ago by the finance department. The issue, and I'm going to get Mr. Hines to jump in and help me out a little bit here in a second, because he understands all the leave better than I do. But the issue is that when parents go out on FMLA, new babies born, if they choose to stay out longer and they take parental leave without pay, if they happen to be on parental leave without pay, when it's time to pay out the supplement, they don't get the supplement. Whereas somebody who maybe went out on FMLA earlier in the year and took that same amount of time and took that parental leave without pay, because they are working when the supplement rolls around, they get the supplement. They took the same amount of time, but because one's out at a certain time, they don't get it. In years past, the one or two people that this generally affects, we've always done the right thing because we should, and pay out that supplement as Dr. Putnam did this year, with the one or two that happened to affect. But in order to just fix that problem, the policy committee discussed, and we would like to add in parental leave without pay in the exemption portion, which is under Part B 2C, and it's got exceptions for that. If somebody's on FMLA currently, or they're on short-term disability, then currently they are exempt and still get the supplement, and we would like to add that parental leave without pay in there too. Is that good? There we go. I did a good job.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, that's gonna help make sure employees are, they deserved it, they earned it.
That's to be treated.
So it was literally, if they were off a certain date, they would not get it.
It was
Literally one
literally
day.
the difference in, if they were on FMLA when the supplement payment occurred, they're good to go. If they had already used their FMLA and stayed out, say, an additional 6 weeks, which is allowed, and they were on leave without pay during the payment, they didn't get it.
Wow.
So it was just the type of leave, correct?
Yeah, and that's not an unusual state rule when it
Right.
comes to pay.
Right.
Like for holiday pay, you have to be in pay status to get the holiday pay. So if you were on leave without pay 2 weeks before the holiday and a week after, you wouldn't get the holiday pay. So that's not an unusual practice with the state.
Sure.
But we think it does do harm here simply because when they're out. It's not that they're not coming back or, you know, that rule really is just trying to capture where people leave or come and go from employment. These people are still employed, they're just not in payroll status that moment.
Right.
So it's a little different, but it's not an unusual practice for the state.
Right. Well, great job by the policy committee, in my opinion, on that one.
Yeah, and they
Well,
fix that.
it was finance that brought the issue, so kudos to them, and we just helping fix it. I do have one more thing. I'm sorry it's not on there, but I just wanted to point out, the policies that we had in the March meeting. When this meeting falls, our next board meeting on Monday in April, it will have only been 21 days. So it will have not been the full 30 days for those to have been tabled under that first read. So we can either wait until March. You guys could, vote and move them on anyway. Entirely up to you, but I just wanted to point that out. So if they're not on there next time, or I guess next week on Monday, if they're not up, then they will be on the May meeting.
Only way you could pass them would be to suspend the rules
Correct.
and pass them, or
So-
not pass them.
Right.
So are there any in that policy set that you would want to be considered with a rule suspension, I guess is the question.
A homeschooler one.
Well,
These
then,
people's waited a long time for this.
Second that. I think that needs to be voted on.
I mean, if anybody's gonna comment on it, they would already done it.
you're getting comments.
Mr. Haynes, go ahead and list the policies, and then we can decide individually on each one of those. Unless you wanted to vote on all of them at the same time, to suspend the rules on all of them or one of them. But just go ahead and list them like we normally would, and then we'll decide as a board at our board meeting whether we
Yes, sir.
want to suspend the rules. or
Yes,
not.
sir.
Okay.
Sounds good. We can do it.
All right. That handles that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I always say at our next regular board meeting, or for 30 days.
So that kinda covers it.
It kinda covers it, but to be legal, if you wanna be real legal about it, we'll suspend the rules if we wanna go forward with it. Is the way I would suggest we do it, and that way we don't get in the habit of,
Well, it's just
Do it
kind of
again.
funky because of when spring break falls, and so
No,
we
we
bumped the
moved our
meeting
meeting
forward.
back.
Exactly.
okay,
Right.
we can fix it.
Probably be easier just to go ahead and do them anyway.
Yeah.
Hadn't any public comment on any of them, have
I have not received, I did have one person ask where they could read it, and so I gave them the link, where it is on our website, but I didn't get a comment.
We all got emails, or I did. I got a
Got
couple.
emails.
We've had public comments. I mean,
a
from
couple
emails
comments.
and here.
Yep. So we'll decide at the board meeting what to do about that. That'd be
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
But go ahead and list them, please, on the agenda. Okay? Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that's it.
I'd like to say publicly that I appreciate Representative Pless coming and listening to us tonight about our concerns about the funding and our budget. And I encourage him to support us in that effort. So,
I'm with you, Mr. Chairman, because we've not really had that. In the 23 years I've been here, had the representatives come and really be with us like that. I mean, we've had meetings, but, before, but with our representatives, but actually to come
specific need.
and this specific needs that we're in, so I agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
All right.